Hi, and welcome to North Central. We are so happy that you're here. We think you have made such a wise choice in choosing North Central. Today what we want to do is let you hear from the faculty and hear what they think that you need to be successful here at North Central. Expectations are important, and we want you to know what they are thinking that you need as you enter in the classroom. So what you're going to hear is some tips, thoughts, ideas, and how they think you can start off successfully here. Listen to what they have to say, take heed, and know that we're here to help you every step of the way.
One of the most important things that I want my students to understand is that their education can't be treated like a spectator sport. If they want to do well in school, they're going to have to get active, participate when they go to class, and make their education their own.
What I would like to do is for students to take responsibility for their own learning. I'd like them to understand a little bit why they're coming here to college. I want them to understand their own goals, how their classes are going to connect to their lives. Now, each student is an individual, and one of the things I really like to do as a professor is to figure out who that student is, what they're individually motivated by, and to try to help them achieve their own goals. I like to meet my students halfway, but what I ask of them is that they put some thought into why they're here and what they're hoping to get out of school.
I put a lot of time into my syllabus. I think about it really carefully. And I want it to be really clear to the students. I want it to be a contract between us, and that's what it is. And I want to show the students that there are things that I'm going to provide for them, and there are things that I expect from them. I make sure that it's no mystery how they're going to get their grade. All of the stuff is just detailed out there for them, so they can always feel confident of all the support that they have in our classes. That's really significant to me, and I really care that that first contract says a lot about the relationship I'm establishing with my students, and I care about that.
That's brilliant. Could you just do my part too? Oh my God. Coming to class is really important. I think that I provide value to you as a student, but also we create a community in the classroom and we learn from each other. It's not just me talking to you, it's you talking with the other students. So attendance is very important. And I know that we're all not 18 years old and this is the only thing we need to do. We have families, we have jobs, we have other commitments. The worst thing you can do is just fade away. If you have a challenge, if you have something going on in your life that you can't make it to class, come talk to me. There are a lot of ways you can hand in assignments. You can send them to me electronically. I can send you the assignments electronically. Always better that I know ahead of time, but sometimes that doesn't work out. But talk to me. Talk to all your professors. We really want you to be successful, and the only way we can help you if there's a problem is if you come talk to us.
One of the things that I see a lot in my classes is that if students show up with an idea of being invisible in the classroom, they tend not to do as well. And it's really important for students to speak up and show me where they're at, whether or not they understand things or not, so that I know where they're at and I can help them with whatever issues they're having.
In my syllabus, I have a section that talks about risk-taking. And I assess my students based on risk-taking because I think that all of college is risk-taking. That's how we learn. That's how I have learned. And I believe that when my students come into class, they're taking a leap and they're putting in my hands their hopes for the future and their interest in what they're doing. And if they bring all of their good skills and thoughts and exactly who they are to the classroom, and I bring all of my presence and what I'm doing, that we can do really amazing things. But I need them there, and that's why I ask them to jump a little bit, see what happens, take some risks, and magical things will happen.
I find that students are really focused on the grade, and quite frankly, I'm more concerned about learning. A's don't really mean that much to me. If you came in not understanding something and at the end of the class, the end of the week, the end of the semester, you understand it, then I think we're both successes. I really like that when my students actually make mistakes, they have errors, because that's where the learning happens. When you can figure out what you did wrong and how to fix it, that's a great thing. That's magical as far as I'm concerned. So don't be afraid, as James said, to take risks, to make mistakes, just learn from them.
Another thing that I would like is for students to treat knowledge as a continuum and to connect what they're getting out of one class with what they're getting out of my classes. So what I really welcome is for students in my English classes to bring in content knowledge that they're getting in, say, their psychology class or their sociology class or their science class, and to examine how that knowledge can be brought to bear upon the things that we're talking about in my class.
One of the coolest things about my job is that I'm helping people make changes in their lives that they came here to make. People that come to college want to become professionals. And when they leave here, often they either get jobs right away where they're professionals, or they go on to another college and ultimately get a job that requires, hopefully, a college degree. And jobs with professionalism, you are required to do your job on time, on budget, with little or no supervision. And when you look at the way our syllabi are formulated, you don't necessarily see professionalism as an objective, but it's embedded in the course. It's embedded in the way that we require students to do things in a timely manner. Everything has a standard, and what we're actually doing is getting students prepared for when they go out in the real world and do things with little or no supervision in a manner that is on time and under budget. So when our students leave here and they become our peers and they become sometimes our colleagues, it's really important to us that they understand the aspect of professionalism that they're learning here at North Central.
What are you going to do about this life that you want to have, and this career that you want to have, and this degree or certificate you want to have, which includes a class or two that you don't want to take? What are you going to do about that? And that's hard sometimes for students to sort of wrap their heads around, because they'll say, I don't want to take X class. I'm just not going to go, or I'm not going to do the homework. And I say, does that get you to the life you want? And since it doesn't, what are you going to do differently? What are you going to do to help create success for yourself in that class that you don't really want to do? And so we talk about ways to do that. Create a study group with people in the same class. Go see the professor. That's one of the most important strategies that you can use. Another one is trick yourself into studying. Believe it or not, sometimes just telling yourself, I'm just going to study for 20 minutes, that's all. Sort of get you in the mood of studying, and then you keep going. Sometimes combining different things that you like to do with something you have to do can help, like creating note cards for yourself and then taking them out on a walk. If you love to walk, take those note cards with you while you walk and study them. So you're doing something you want to do with something you have to do. Or get one other person from the class, or a friend or a spouse, to help you study while you're on that walk. And then you're creating that kind of social interaction if you're a social kind of person. Another couple strategies are one that they've heard before, I'm sure, in junior high or high school, but it still works for college, and that is to use a planner. And then the final strategy I would suggest is study here at the college. If you go home, there are so many distractions. If you go to the dorm, there are so many distractions. If you study in the library, for example, that place is geared for successful studying, and it can up your overall success as well. One of the things that I always tell my students at the beginning of the semester, and then occasionally throughout the semester, is that I don't have to live your life. You have to live your life. So create the life that you want, and do that by figuring out what are the strategies that will enable my success.